It was within 2 minutes of meeting Susanna that I thought I was in trouble. My gut feel had turned out to be spot on, because it was shortly after 8 minutes in that my suspicions were confirmed. A wave of dejection ran through my body because it had all started out so well. You see, Susanna had offered to buy me a coffee in exchange for picking my brain. It seemed innocent enough. I mean, I love caffeine, so what's not to like? I mean, the rich, silky taste, the wonderful aroma, the warm buzz it gives you. That's quite simply my jam. Well, coffee, but you know what I mean. So when Susanna offered, I was more than happy to oblige. I mean, being able to share knowledge and pass on what I had experienced is something that I'm more than happy to do, especially if it helps somebody else. So it seemed like a great proposition. We settled on meeting in a lovely little coffee house just round the corner, so not far from my flat. It does great coffee, it's a nice relaxed atmosphere, and it was quiet enough so you could actually hear each other, which is a bit of a novelty these days. I blocked out time in my diary to give her an hour of my undivided attention. Before meeting, I'd gone over the many permutations of the questions she may ask, as I wanted her to walk away enthused, informed, and quite simply pleased with the meeting. I wanted to give her as much insight as I could. The topic of discussion, you ask? Well, how do you make the transition from an existing job into your dream job territory? I mean, this is a path many want, but very few have walked in. I mean, I felt honoured and excited by the forthcoming conversation. But sadly, it didn't turn out that way. You see, what happened is for 10 minutes straight, all Susanna did was talk about herself. I mean, literally non-stop. Feeling completely bamboozled, it took a moment to refocus, and then it took her by surprise when I abruptly ended our discussion. To be fair, I would have gladly chalked up Susanna's monologue to nerves, giving her the benefit of the doubt, but this assumption was shattered within the one and only question that she actually asked. Why exactly did you want to meet with me? I inquired. Because I want a job at your firm, she replied. Are you hiring? What? I thought. Thinking on my feet, well, more accurately, my bum, as I was still sat down, I considered the question. This wasn't one I'd foreseen. I wasn't actually prepared for this. Not to worry, I'm pretty good under pressure, so my answer was reasonably good thinking back on it now. I recommended a few resources and wished the young job seeker the best of luck in her career hunt. But with the unexpected gift of getting 50 minutes back, I walked back to my flat, mulling over the whirlwind of the last 10 minutes. I mean, reflecting on the situation, some sage advice from my coach, kind of career coach in days gone by, entered my consciousness. If you ask for a job, you'll get advice. If you ask for advice, you'll eventually get a job. So it seems obvious when you say it out loud, but now I don't want to sound arrogant, but this happens several times a month. I get inquiries from younger professionals starting out their careers and how to reach their career goals. Now, don't get me wrong, it's these kind of questions that I absolutely love answering because it's like repaying a debt. You're paying it forwards, if you will. I mean, when I was doing some reading on a different topic, I was surprised to learn that in a recent survey conducted by the US Bureau of Labor Statistics, 70% of professionals found their job through networking. Yeah, 70%. Wow. It turns out that rather than grad schemes, informational interviews are the most effective way to increase your odds of success. Informational interviews are essential to helping you find out more about the type of industry, company or role that you're interested in. You may think you already know about a certain position, but speaking to someone directly gives you the opportunity to test out your assumptions. This is according to Dory Clark, author of Standout Networking. I mean, it kind of makes sense. If you want to change direction, industry or job, speaking to somebody who has actually done that kind of makes sense. I think this is where the phrase walk the walk comes from. Would you rather take advice from someone who has a theoretical understanding of a situation or somebody who's actually lived and breathed it? When exploring a new career path, though, it's smart to go out on informational interviews. I mean, this just simply makes sense. But who should you meet? And what should you ask when you're in one? Leaning on my personal experience and learning from what went wrong, I would say that to make the interactions as fruitful as possible, you need to find the right person who has the job you want. I mean, the job that you really want. The one that you would swap everything for right now to have. This means you are invested in what they have to say and you're going to take it seriously, because through the art of conversation, you can then tease out the blueprints for personal and professional success. This approach helps you unlock rare industry insights and professional pathways, including secret shortcuts that will prove invaluable. Certainly much more valuable than the conversation I had with Susanna. So with that in mind, I believe there is only one shortcut in life: the ability to learn from those ahead of you on a path you want to take. Why? Well, because it means you can, 1, avoid mistakes made by others. Who doesn't want that? Breaking false beliefs. Well, don't limit yourself unnecessarily, I reckon. 3, acquiring the correct skills. Well, be specific in what you purchase, i.e. acquire. 4, developing potent character traits, because somebody somewhere will always tell you it is character building. So why not let it actually be character building? But here's a tip. Don't ask just to pick their brain. That does nothing to endear yourself at all. Just puts you in the crowd. It makes you bland. And no one likes bland. So instead, try these 7 killer questions to ask those ahead of you to super accelerate your career. Number 1. What do most people think is important that I should avoid doing? Now let's face it, when you're starting out, everything looks important. You think you need to focus on it all. This, quite honestly, is overwhelming at best and completely unnecessary at worst. Because as you progress, you realise most things aren't really important. In fact, the most successful men and women say yes and focus on only a very few things. I talked about this in my previous video, which you can check out here. And we consider the founder of Apple, Steve Jobs, who I'm sure you've heard of, for a second, because he said, it's only by saying no that you can concentrate on the things that are really important. The same is true of what's really important. So instead of wasting your effort in dozens of directions, ask this person what to avoid. It will be a much more insightful response and a question that will help you stand out. And that is only a good thing. Happy days. Now, number 2 is, what do you do daily that you wished you had started sooner? Now, as the Chinese proverb says, the best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. The second best time is now. So even if you haven't started or refined your daily routine, there is still plenty of time to do so. The harsh reality is that most people ahead of you got to where they are with simple daily actions compounded over time. It's often not sexy or glamorous, but the hard yards repeatedly performed for a prolonged period is what gets results. So ask, and in turn figure out, what those actions are and build them into your days. Then commit to doing them for years. Even if you don't want to, because it's this commitment which makes the difference. Because remember, consistency beats intensity every time. Number 3, what did you do to build the high quality relationships you wanted? Now in this question, we're talking about meeting people. Now I know it's a cliche and you've probably heard it before, but yes, you are the average of the 5 people you surround yourself with. This was originally said by Jim Rohn, and he was a smart guy. I mean, he figured it out pretty quickly. You can't get away from that. Both he was smart and you are the average of those people. I mean, that kind of makes sense. You need to think about where you want to be, not where you are. But the problem is finding the people to surround yourself with is not easy. Unless you know where to look, that is. And this is where your question gives you real-world, tangible insight. This is a path travelled. So listen up when they answer it. Use it to determine some direction, and then just take massive action. Now, number 4 is, what did you do that others mocked but paid off big time in the end? Okay, so please don't let this question put you off to begin with, but the reason for this is that if you do exactly what everyone else has done, you will end up with the same result as them. There's a reason Einstein's definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and over again and expecting a different result. Please don't let that be you. It's a trap too many fall into. Instead, remember the phrase, to have something you've never had before, you're going to have to do something you've never done before. It really is that straightforward. No, it's not simple, but it is straightforward. This is about standing out from the crowd. Don't be mediocre. Be exceptional. You can use this question to identify behaviours to shed and immediately give yourself a career competitive advantage. Number 5. What can I expect to struggle with on my career journey? Don't be afraid to ask the hard questions either, because growth is about having problems today that you would have begged to have had years ago. I mean, I learned this the hard way. There are so many times where I've thought in the past, I wish I'd known this 15 years ago. But the issue is that even if I did know it 15 years ago, I was unlikely to have been mature enough to actually understand it. So don't put that pressure on yourself. You are exactly where you are meant to be. But if you know which struggles are coming in the future, you can prepare for them. You can conquer them. You can continue to grow. Now, just to warn you though, growing now means you are going to unlock new problems. That is inevitable. But don't let that scare you. It's all part of your growth, and that is most definitely a good thing. Number 6 is, what did you initially believe that you had to unlearn to be successful? Closely tied to the previous point, there are going to be pain points, but also habits and actions that you will need to unlearn. A simple example is that, let's say you smoked for 5 years. Putting aside it's actually a horrible habit, the period of time you did this habit, i.e. 5 years, it's not going to be unexpected that it will take you the same time to unlearn it, i.e. another 5 years. This is a rule of thumb, and obviously there will always be exceptions, but gives you perspective. That said, progress comes from the constant cycle of identifying a bottleneck and removing that bottleneck. So don't get bogged down. Bottlenecks are there to be relieved. And most of the time, that bottleneck is a behaviour or belief you must just unlearn. And that is most definitely within your control, so don't be scared of those bottlenecks. They are huge opportunities. And number 7, what did you ignore at the beginning, which you subsequently learned the hard way? I'm sure you know this, but when you're starting out, you are really just flying blind. You make it up as you go along and hoping it works out. But hope is not a strategy to rely on. To be frank, you don't even know what you don't know. And to be honest, Google Donald Rumsfeld for the known, unknown, known, known, unknown, known quotes. But it's fair to say that the faster you can uncover these blind spots, the faster you can improve. And improving is the name of the game. Well, reaching your goals is the name of the game, but you know what I mean. And that's it. It may feel scary and daunting, but that's because you are stepping out of your comfort zone. This time, you're not flying solo, as you have 7 killer questions to accelerate your career to reach your dream job. Now, I would love to hear the questions that you've used and have worked for you in your career. Please do write me a comment below. But do you want to know what the 5 insanely simple secrets to career success are? Well, please do check out this video here. But with that, have a great day, and I'll see you all in the next video. Cheers.